I'm going to turn the chair to Councillor Lutz.
Okay, we're moving on to delegation number 6. We have Christine Ronsoray. Good morning. If you can please state which aspects of the budget you'll be speaking to, and then you'll have 10 minutes.
Thank you. I'm Christine Ronsoray, and I want to speak about the safety of the library. And I don't want to make you do anything, but I have some things to hand out, a booklet. I can gladly hand it out. I just the awkwardness of making somebody do something for me. Thank you. Just so you're aware, I've got a bag full of books from the library here today.
Thank you. And foreign. I just want to, I don't want to preemptively call a point of order, but we've just been handed a package on defunding porn in libraries. And I'm suspecting what might ensue is, I'm concerned because I've heard from the speaker before, and so has the library board, of expression of hate speech. So in a rare preemptive, because I know we haven't heard from folks today, I just want to make sure that you know that I'll be at the ready of a point of order. So because I am concerned of previous things that as a member of the library board I'm aware of, and so I just hope that you can also remind everybody that this chamber is for decorum, and it upholds human rights. Were you able to hear that?
No, I missed the hate speech part. I missed that part.
Could you repeat that, please, Councillor Rollins? Sure. So hate speech is a form of expression through which speakers intend to vilify a community or a group. And I am very concerned that what is going to ensue, given that defund porn in libraries has just been handed out, that what we're going to hear, given the thrust of this document, is hate speech, and in particular against the trans community. So this space isn't to be used for that, and I just want a proactive reminder, Chair, that this is not that. I haven't reviewed this document that is defund porn in libraries, but I think if I did, I would find a very concerning trajectory. And so I just want to put on the record that, and again, we haven't heard anything yet, that this space is a space that isn't to be used for hate speech.
Okay. Did you hear Councillor Rollins' concerns?
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're validated, but I will, if it's okay.
Well,
I would like to.
both her and I, will, and anyone else on the committee, this is a chamber of decorum.
Yep.
So we ask that you speak to the budget and the process, and I welcome you to introduce yourself and begin.
Okay. I'm just at a point of clarification. Is the mayor coming back or no?
Maybe. We don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We
I'm
hope
not sure
so, but
I'm not sure how this all works. So
yeah.
Pardon my ignorance.
Okay.
Hello, public servants, ladies and gentlemen of the public. My name is Christine Ronsoray, and I'm here at this budget hearing to ask, why are we funding illicit activity? Why are you funding the Winnipeg Public Libraries when you are choosing to make sexually explicit material available to our children and youth? How do you justify this tax funding model, which creates unsafe environments for our children? All excerpts seen in this booklet in front of you, and all quotes heard today are taken from the books being made available to children through our Winnipeg Public Libraries. These examples are chosen based on our time allocation based on this presentation, and are only scratching the surface of what's available to our kids in our Winnipeg Public Libraries. Please open your booklets to the first page and look at slide 1 and 2. These cartoon-style drawings are from the book It's Perfectly Normal, cataloged by its publisher as sex instruction for children. Sex instruction for children. The images include people having intercourse, a nude boy with an erection, and a girl, breasts hanging down, examining her fully exposed anus and vagina in a mirror. Drawings may be less alarming to adults than photographs of children masturbating or standing in the nude with an erection. However, pornography is not only defined as pictures, but also as drawings or visual representations. Please turn with me to slide 5 and 6. Section 163 of the Criminal Code of Canada defines child pornography as a visual representation that shows a person who is under the age of 18 years, who is depicted as engaged in explicit sexual activity, or where the dominant characteristic is the depiction of a sexual organ or the anal region of a person under the age of 18 years. Take another look at the images in front of you and ask yourself, is it fiscally responsible to fund child pornography on the shelves of the Winnipeg Public Libraries? Although the material I am about to present to you is distributed to children who frequent the publicly funded libraries here in Winnipeg, the following is not intended for children. Please turn to slide 7, and I'll read an excerpt from the book, Let's Talk About It. This book was found in the juvenile section of a Charleswood Public Library. As you read together with me, also note the 4 large graphic images, hands on penises, which include arrows and sound effects that the visual sex instruction for what I'm about to read.
So
Quote.
can I just interrupt here for a second? You've distributed this material, which is great. We appreciate it. It's on the record, right? It's great.
Is it on the record? I'm assuming that whatever I say
You've
today.
distributed it. So
Okay, perfect.
We'll be on the record. And we ask that you have decorum in the chamber. We understand that many people go to the library and will find many things offensive, depending on their perspectives. But
Can I finish my presentation?
Sure.
Thank you. So what I'm about to read, like I said, is very graphic. Quote, stroke the shaft of your penis with different pressures and speeds.
Yeah.
Try mixing it up with the grip of switching your
point of
hand.
order.
Thank you. You've made the presentation. We do have it. And if you indicate this in our library, this is a matter. Have you discussed this with the Winnipeg Public Library Board?
It's an advisory board, and this is a budget meeting. So I'm actually talking, so as you can understand, under the Public Libraries Act, here in Winnipeg, is this taking away from my time of speaking? I'm not.
No, your time has paused.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry?
In terms of a point of order, in the chamber, we typically don't have, and I think the presenter is trying to present their concerns over perhaps what they perceive, what they're reading in the chamber. We typically don't have sexually explicit language in the chamber. And so while they're reading from an excerpt of the book contained in the library,
For children.
while they're reading an excerpt of a book contained in the library, this isn't this in the chamber atmosphere. The quote, and there's a lot of things. Again, you can quote from books in the library, is sort of inappropriate and there's other ways to make a point than talking about sexually explicit acts. I think you can say sexually explicit acts, but at the point where we're graphically talking about what is contained in books, I think we can get the substantive point, and of course. We can take away from the time and the clock is stopped, but I'll call a point of order at the point where there's the graphic illustrations are and sex acts are being described. I can grasp the thrust of the presentation without that.
And can I just add a point? Could you just refer to sexually graphic material? I don't think we need to hear the exact word for word from the book. Sexually graphic material, from what you've distributed, explains it. Could you just refer to that? There are people here that may take offense to it. There are people that may appreciate it, but if you wouldn't mind.
Oh, my mic is back on. I know how that works. You can turn it off and on. I guess my point there, and this is not taking away from my time, I hope, because this is answering your question. This isn't Horton Hears a Who that's available to children. This is actually another book that's available to children. If you adults in this room don't want to hear what's available to children that we're paying for with my taxes, I kind of question the point of that point of order. The point of order being, if it's not appropriate for children or for the adults in the room, how on earth is it appropriate for children with my tax dollars? So if you would allow me to continue my speech, I would like to do that. I think it's nerve-wracking enough having to do this. So thank you.
So yeah, just before you do continue, it's not a matter of whether or not we want to know, and we're glad you presented this to us to identify materials that are in our library. It's just in the context of this meeting in this chamber. There's a decorum that we do keep here, right?
Right,
so,
and I'm sorry, Mr. Mayor, but I'm trying to be as polite as possible. I did refer this to the budget.
Yeah.
Right, and
so,
I am in keeping with the policies within this room, because I am actually reading a children's book, and it's just an excerpt of which. So I guess my question to you would be, how can you justify paying for it for children but not accepting reading it for yourselves?
So, but it's right. It's a choice, right?
No, actually, it's not.
Yeah, it is a choice, because anyone can go to the library, choose to select the books they want to take out and read in the context of their family, or personally. I'm just asking today that in the context of this chamber, that there's a measure of decorum that we keep. And what we also do is we don't determine the individual books within our library as a council. That's something that I would encourage you to, if you haven't already, to speak with the chair of our Community Services Committee.
Yeah.
But I think by presenting this to us, we do have this. This is on record now, thank you. So it's a matter of the public record. And so if you, in a moment, when you continue on with your presentation, I'm asking you not to read it, because you presented it to us, and you're making your point, and it's the ultimate point that we want to hear, and you're making that point. We're going to give you time to do that. Mr. Orlico, Councillor Orlico?
This is on a point of order for us, councillors. I believe this isn't the time for debate. We're not supposed to be debating with the presenter. So just a caution for us on our side. This is not the time for debate. It's to listen and move on, but it's not a time for debate.
Sure, and fair point. Appreciate that. It's just a matter of also maintaining expectation and decorum within the chamber.
I would just like you to, as I continue, to really look at the irony of that situation. Thank you. I will continue. I will leave the quote as graphic as it is. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm also going to invite you to read to the other very similar graphic images and pages of instruction of how to have anal and vaginal masturbation. That's also in your booklet, so please look at that. Turn to slide 10, please. Section 152 of the Criminal Code, titled Invitation to Sexual Touching, states, every person who counsels, incites a person to touch with a part of the body or with an object, the body of any person under the age of 16 years, is guilty of an indictable offense. This book literally gives our 12-year-olds step-by-step instruction on sexual touching. Why are you allocating tax dollars for these materials? Please look at slide 13. This is a memoir manifesto, All Boys Aren't Blue, marks a trend in a highly graphic and sexualized content written for teens. It's about a boy, in the conversation is the narrator, and it's about a 10-year-old boy who had a very graphic, rather rose-colored response to sexual abuse. So since I'm not allowed to read the quote, as ironic as that is, I will not. But to rose-color offensive abuse. I grew up in an area where a girl was raped, murdered, to the point of this type of abuse, and we're rose-coloring it. But I won't read that because apparently that affects people in this room. Thank you.
Excuse
You
me.
can-
Point of order.
So you have presented us with this, right? So just so you know, it's a matter of public record now, right?
Okay.
So I remind you, it's about maintaining decorum in this chamber. So you presented this to us. We as the NEPA Executive Policy Committee, we can and we will go through this and read this.
I hope so.
But in the context of this meeting, there is a measure of decorum. So I would just ask you to understand that.
I'm trying to understand it, sir. I am trying very hard.
No, sorry, you can't.
I'm
We can't have comments from, just again, decorum in the chamber.
I'm sorry.
Can't have,
I would just like to finish, if I could.
excuse me? Okay.
Sorry.
Excuse me.
I can't hear very well. Sorry.
Okay, well, so when we're speaking, we'll try to speak one at a time. There is a matter of decorum in this chamber, and I'll continue to call for decorum in the chamber. If that includes, there can't be comments or expressions from the gallery. That's standard, and has been standard for all our meetings as well. Thank you. Carry on.
And for, I think we can all get through this. We can allocate the full 10 minutes, but on the recent page referral, that was beyond just coded language and hate speech. I'm reading the reference. It pertains it essentially amounts to homophobic. It pertains to male sex acts. So we're now into the realm of hate speech. So I just, we can caution, but I would like to say 3 times you're out or something. But it's up to you, Mr. Chair. But that recent reference was more than just homophobic hate speech. So if we can just caution, we can all get through the presentation, but that's why, I started off prior to you leaving the room with Chair Councillor Lukes, that I was concerned about hate speech. I think we're now, skating past the line with this most recent reference to page 1011. So I think we can get through it, the presentation, but for me, this is now crossing the line that I was concerned about, and I'm hoping for you too, Mr. Chair. The second time I'll be leaving the room.
Can I also speak to that?
Noted, thank you.
I can't speak.
Before we go further, no, I'm going to ask you to just continue on with your presentation in a moment. I'm just going to say that there's another outburst. I'm going to ask whomever it is to leave the chamber. You'll be asked to leave the chamber, and we'll stop the meeting until you've left the chamber. Thank you.
Then before...
Carry on. Just carry on with your presentation, please.
Okay, I just, speaking of how things go in the chamber as a point of order, I'm kind of offended that this is considered as hate speech. I haven't even said anything hateful yet. And I'm offended that I'm being labeled as such. You can read with me on the same slide. Section 163 of the Criminal Code of Canada also defines child pornography as any written material whose dominant characteristic is the description of sexual activity with a person under the age of 18 years, or the written depiction of underage individuals engaged in explicit sexual behavior. Section 152 of the Criminal Code also clarifies that children of any age who commit a sex act with another child under the age of 16 have committed a crime in Canada. Slide 13 and 14 contain 4 excerpts of this memoir, also which fit the description of written child pornography. Consider for a moment what position Winnipeg City Council has put themselves in by funding the distribution of this material. Please turn to slide 15. The Criminal Code states, every person who makes available or distributes any child pornography is guilty of distribution. Over $30 million tax dollars are used each year to fund the Winnipeg Public Libraries. You, Winnipeg City Council, provide the funding from our city tax dollars, which is only fulfilling policies that are created and directed by you, the body responsible for the Winnipeg Public Libraries according to the Public Libraries Act. We, the public, elected and trusted you, the councilmen and women, to represent us. You are the stewards of the taxes collected on our behalf. We expect fiscal responsibility, good management, and integrity. So the question I am asking is, why would you, the Mayor of Winnipeg, Winnipeg City Council members, continue to provide funding to Winnipeg Public Libraries if they are choosing to curate and distribute materials both on their shelves and on their online selections that contain child pornography, teach sexual touching to minors, and open up our children to sexual grooming, sexual abuse, and illegal sexual activity. All of this are a violation of the Criminal Code of Canada. On behalf of the taxpayers and the concerned community members, we, the public, insist that our tax funding be withheld until all the materials that contravene the Criminal Code of Canada, that contain written material, visual and audio pornography, child pornography, instruct minors on sexual touching, or that could be used for grooming purposes, are
Ronsaray, your time is concluded. Thank you. Thank you. That's up to the members of the committee to extend it. So thank you. We do have your presentation here, and it's a matter of public record, and so we thank you for your time today.
Our next delegation